Internet, welcome back again today to Digital Renovations. Today we're going to be tackling a couple of coding problems that you see commonly show up, as most common things do. And those are going to be the FizzBuzz challenge and checking if something is a palindrome. So FizzBuzz, fairly standard, we're going to be trying to count to 100 and we see if something is divisible by 3, and if it is, we replace it with the word fizz. If it's divisible by 5, we replace it with the word buzz, and if it's divisible by both 3 and 5, we replace it with FizzBuzz. This is going to help us learn about the percentage operator, which is used for modulus operations, which is just a fancy way of saying we're going to check to see if there's a remainder when we divide things. On the palindrome side of things, that's going to help us to determine if a string is a palindrome, so something that's the same forwards as it is backwards. This is going to teach us about string handling in Python and how things that may seem complex can actually be kind of simple. So let's dive into FizzBuzz to start off with. So we've got our code editor here. I will make that slightly bigger so that people are actually able to see what the heck is going on the screen. And let's take a look at it again. So FizzBuzz, as said, we want to count to 100, and if a number is divisible by 3, 5, or 3 and 5, we replace the number with a string. There's a few ways to check if a number is evenly divisible, but I think the easiest is probably going to be using the modulus operator, which is just a percentage symbol. So we're going to use it like we would use any mathematical operator. So if we just type in print, and we go 6 divided by 3, and we run that, we're going to see that it goes in twice. Perfect. So if we then want to take that and we want to look at the modulus, so is there a remainder? We would put 6 percentage sign 3, we'll run that again, and we'll see that there's a remainder of 0 in there. Now, what if we wanted to see if there was a remainder? So if we go 7 divided by 3, we know it's going to go evenly in twice with 1 left over. And here we have 1. So that's sort of it at its core. That's the concept. So let's look at how we can do some checking with this. So if we wanted to see if something's divisible by 3 evenly and then say fizz, we just go if 6 modulus 3 is equal to 0. Remember, we use double equal signs for comparison. And if we want to say a variable is 0, we would use a single. So we're going to say if 6 modulus 3 is equal to 0, we want to print fizz. Let's save that and run it. What do we get? Fizz, because it is evenly divisible. All right, so let's work on some of the other logic around this. So if we want to set up a function, main, and we want to count to 100. So if we go for number in range 1 to 101, so that's going to loop from 1 up until 101, but not including 101. We want to print num, and then we'll say main to run our main function. Now, what are we going to get? We'll run that, and we have our numbers 1 to 100. How lucky are we? Excellent. All right, so that gets us printing every number from 1 to 100. Let's add our checks. We'll use some simple if statements to do this. So we've got our for loop. We know that we want to, at the end, if it doesn't meet any of our criteria, we're going to have to print the number. Before that, we want to check if the number is evenly divisible by 3. So number modulus 3 is 0, and number modulus 5 equals 0, we want to write FizzBuzz. Print FizzBuzz. Excellent. Now that gives us our, hey, it's divisible by both. What if we just want divisible by 3? We go elif num modulus 3 equals 0. We want to print Fizz. And then the same for 5. Oh, not that. Oh, making everything worse. So much worse. All right. elif num modulus 5 is 0. Print buzz. And if it's none of those, we want to just print the number. Now we've done it in this order because if we check first if it's equal or evenly divisible by 3 and then evenly divisible by 5, we'll have already printed a value before we ever check if it's divisible by both. So by checking that first, we make sure that that criteria is met. We know if it's not divisible by both, that we can then check with 3 and check with 5 safely. And if it meets none of those, we just want it to print the number. So let's run it, see what happens. Okay, progress. 1, 2, Fizz, because 3 is obviously divisible by itself. 5 is divisible by itself. We know 6 is divisible by 3. What about 15? Divisible by both 3 and 5. FizzBuzz. Great work. You've been coding along. You've now just implemented a loop, some conditional logic for if statements, and learned to use the modulus operator. So great work. Next up, let's take a look at palindrome checking. Open up palindrome.py, palindrome, because I'm not typing so crash out today apparently. So palindromes, words, same backwards as forwards, so level, doesn't matter which way you write it around, you're seeing the same thing. Radar, yep, race car, all the same backwards as forwards. So some of those easier than others. What if we wanted to write a script to tackle a problem for us? The meat and potatoes of it is that we need a way to know if a string is backwards the same as it is forwards. We compare them, same thing, then we print out the word palindrome. If it's not, we say it's not a palindrome. To this we're going to use slicing. Slicing is a method of string handling. It allows us to create a new copy of whatever elements of a string we slice that we want. So we're going to handle this by using some notation. So let's type in input value, and we're going to just call that string. Now our new value is going to be input value. And here's how we're going to start looking at slicing. So for a slice, we define when it starts, when it ends, and how we step through. So for the word string, let's start at the second character, go to the fourth character, step through by 1, and we want to print out our output. So print new value. What are we going to get? So we get from 2, which is the t, to 4, which is our I. We're going to step through once. So our first step gives us r, second step, e. Easy. Okay, so how do we put that into application? Let's jump in here. Now we can take advantage of using negative steps here. So if we keep our input value as string. And we say new value is now going to be equal to input value. Now, if you don't define those first two numbers, it just defaults to the start and end of whatever you put in. So we're just doing the whole thing. If we put in -1 for our step, we're saying, hey, work through this backwards. So we go print new value. We get GNRTs, string backwards. So now we have a way to take an input, flip it backwards. Okay, so let's build this out into a function. Go define our main function. We're going to say input string is equal to, and we'll take in an input, which means we can add in whatever we want. We'll say, what is your string? We're going to take that. We're going to work out what our reversed string is. So we'll go reversed string equals input string. So whatever someone's typed in for us. Colon, colon, start to end, -1, step through it backwards. Now we want to check. We want to say if reversed string is the same as double equals versus if we use a single, we're assigning it. Double equals input string print palindrome. If it doesn't, say else print not a palindrome. And then we'll tell it to execute our main string, main function. Got strings on the brain. Excellent. All right. So now if I click a little play button here to run the Python file, let's clear this out here. Run. What's your string? Python. Python is not a palindrome, but what about level? Level is a palindrome. What about radar? Not a palindrome. Nailed it. All right. So now you've learned to use some conditional logic to understand if a string that's been inputted is the same as the reversed version of that string. You've learned a little bit about splicing, string handling, conditional logic. You are killing it. Thank you for joining me today. Hope that you've learned something. I don't know. If you found it helpful, drop a like. If you've got any questions, leave a comment down below. Please subscribe. It helps me out a lot if you're enjoying this content. Otherwise, until next time, have a good one.